All right, you there, crew? Okay. Okay. It was enroll and then place that. Good. Good. That's huge, bro. Big. Okay. Okay, forget the music. So, the first things that I'm going to do, it's a little different because I was just like researching this stuff. Just not even like research. I was just like looking at numbers and finding out what was working here. So, here we go. Research, first thing on research. Research speed. Left click, press enter. Now this one. So this okay, so the research one, we're going to actually go to mechanical computing after this is done, right? You know, the faster we get the research speed, the faster we start researching everything, right? Okay. Industry. Now there's two options right here. There's construction speed, which is always a good one to get. Or there is basic machine tools. Now, I want basic machine tools, not just because of the production efficiency cap or whatever. You know, that's fine. But I need dispersed industry. Okay, dispersed industry or concentrated industry, which one's better? Well, there's production efficiency retention right here, which I looked at forums and they say like this is just better because when you do switch, like you lose a chunk of that that retention, right? You retain some, but this helps you retain a little bit more. But the reason why we're doing this is because both of these industries, either which way you go, max factories in a state plus 20%. So when we click on our construction and I click on the civilian factory, let's say, this says 8 out of 8. Now that 20%, now, so you see that the infrastructure right here is 60%. So this right here is, so there's like, let's say if it was at 0%, that means it's just, you're constructing like you're constructing 100%. That's just, or like 1.0. You're constructing 1.0. Now with 60%, you're constructing 1.6 up to a maximum of 2.0. So if this is at 100% right here, you're constructing 100% more than 1.0. So it's 1.0 times, the 60, like, 1.6. It would be 1.60. It's 60% more, right? So this is like 1.2. This is 1.4. This is 1.6. Now, there only could be up to a total of 5 infrastructure. Every infrastructure gives you 20% more. So after this plus 2, you see it says out of 5. 5 times 20% would be 100%. Now, this modifier is helping you construct that building faster. So here's my thoughts behind this. Now we're going to go back to the research that we're talking about. And the reason why I want this is because 20% more factories in a state. This effectively will give Argentina one more building slot right here. So this 8 will go to 8/9, meaning I can build another factory in there. Now, when that's complete, when that's research, I'm building 20% faster. Okay? Because the infrastructure is, so if I'm, because if I, the reason why I'm saying 20% faster is because if I wanted to, let's say if I wanted to start building this this civilian factory anywhere, I can't build it at 60% because it's 8/8. So the second best option, or the only option really, would be 40%, right? If I get that dispersed industry, I'm going to get this 20% faster than this 40%, right? In a sense, it's 20% faster because it's 1.4 to 1.6. You can argue like it's, like, well, 20% of 140 would be 168, or whatever, and yeah, that's what I'm just saying 20%, additive. Um, yeah, okay. So I decide, and this is another thing. The reason why I don't want to build a civilian factory or a military factory right away is because we are in toaster economy. Now, this toaster economy, military factory and civilian factory, it's already minus 30%. So we're already in a deficit, and I'm not going to even mess with this, okay? So, what I want to do is I want to build infrastructure and get ready for the civilian factory or the military factory, later on. So, this is what I do. I'm going to build two infrastructure right here. By the way, the infrastructure is only 6 grand, okay? It's whatever. Now, after these are done, this is going to say 100%, and we're going to build things 100% faster than if they had like zero infrastructure, right? But we're going to just do that. And then I know, and then once we get out of toaster economy, we're going to go to partial mobilization. So this is going to change to partial mobilization, and that's when we're going to start building one military factory. Okay. So I'm going to go click on construction and build a military factory right here. Okay. Now, this is in Mendoza. You can click right here and click on the states. This is where it gets on the next level of planning if you're going to go a different route in the game than I am. But I did look this up. And so you can type in, because the infrastructure is really important. Now you can type in infra and press tab. So I did infra, you can press tab, and it's going to show you everywhere that it says this. So example, in Mendoza, in economic tax reforms, in Mendoza, you can add 2 building slots and 2 infrastructure, effectively increasing anything you build there by 40%. Now, this is funky because the effect where it says Mendoza, it's not always the same state. It's not always Mendoza because it was St. Louis, Pampa, the freaking game before, and it was Santa Fe the game before that. So this changes. Feature for war support as impossible to build. Yeah. So the USA needs a good reason, right? I mean, that's where they had a deficit, but they scale and they are incredible scale, right? But the reason why I don't play USA is because it's just so big, and it's like you need to know what you're gonna do. What you do with something small is what you're gonna do with something big, right? If you get handed $1 million and you didn't even know what the hell to do with $100, you're screwed, right? So that's the logic I'm applying to this, right? Now, you could be like, well, if there's only so many things to do and it's so minimal, kind of like if you get handed Germany and you're playing against regular AI and you just smash through Poland, yeah, anybody can do that, right? If you have the basic fundamentals and you're just like, oh, I click here and I right click there, yeah, you're gonna frickin' do some damage, right? But this is different. This is like if this is like the min max, the start of min max. It's not full. But yeah, there's the infrastructure that's over here too. Okay, there's also infrastructure construct. This is capitalizing the beef industry is pretty good because less consumer goods and more infrastructure speed. But like, there's so many like little, I wouldn't say like traps, but but Argentina has a lot of good plays, but you could get lost in the sauce because there's so many like, ooh, wow, that's good. Ooh, wow, this good. And then you could be stuck over here in this area and not even touch this, and you could be behind, militarily, but you'd be good in, with your economy. And I mean, it's just all over the place. So like, you got to have a plan. You got to be like, nope, I'm sticking to my guns, even though that does sound good, and I could utilize something like that. I got to stick to the plan because you cannot research everything. and you gotta like you just gotta focus. You gotta focus on your goal and your plan of attack and what's going to maximize that punch. You know, that push, right? Okay. So I decide, and for the push over here, this so there's communism. Yeah, I split my stuff too much. Yeah, you got to be like, hey, just this type to search. Be like, okay, what? How am I going to approach this? So like when we look at this right here, I want to go after Uruguay, right? What am I gonna research? I'm not gonna go after them right away, but I'm going to focus my tree on there. So on the national focus, establishing a foothold. Now we could go Roberto, nationalists, cut ties into attacking them. Now, I haven't really done that. Um, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Okay. Number one, you don't have enough supply. Okay. Number two, yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah. And number two, the manpower, the amount of divisions you have are just uh, if you stick with 8 divisions and maybe you squeeze out a ninth, you know, from making or from working, or you need to have artillery. You need to have something. You need a push, otherwise it doesn't work. The third reason, and maybe the most important reason, is it's best to wait because instead of so after cut ties with Britain, there is 4 options. There is support radical nationalism, which this is gives you fascism. So there's a lot of good things right here, but it's not for what you need at the moment. It's like, okay, fascist support, that's the best thing actually on this list. Recruitable population, you would argue that's the way better, but for the year that you're in and at the time, it's not what you need. Because I sided with the Axis. Yeah, so you can side with them, but you got to do things that support it. So I'm gonna go through it. Watch. So support radical. You're just not gonna do this right away. I'll cut through it kind of quick. You're not gonna do this at the moment, okay? Because the other options are way better. Establish a foothold. We know that didn't work if we rushed that. So okay, I'm gonna go back to this. Support the Spanish coup. You're going to do this, but not right away. Corporatism, plus 50 political power. Bam. That's nice. I like it. Tell me more. Change in popularity of fascism. Amazing. Okay, and we'll get to that in a bit, and I'll tell you why. Buenos Aires, 2 building slots. Okay, so this is 2 building slots, and it gets filled with 2 military slots. But this increases its, it not like its cap. So it's 8 out of 8 right now. It'll be 10 out of 10, but the 20% stretches further, right? Because 20% of 8, right, is 1.6. Okay, it's not 2, but you're still going to get a factory. You get 1 factory from this. Right, 20% max factories in a state, 20% of 8, 1.6, it doesn't round up, so the 8 goes to 9, okay? But 20% of 10 is 2. So you're gonna get another factory, right? So effectively, this is giving you another building slot, right, to utilize the infrastructure that you set down, that you laid out. Because when we hit corporatism, we're already going to have 100% efficiency of infrastructure in that state, which means we're building the damn buildings faster, okay? Plus, we get 2 military factories right away to help us out with our supply, because without supply, without the stuff that you need, your push is going to be ineffective than it would be if you did have supply. Okay, now there's more. Now when we go over here, reestablish ligas, yada, okay? 5 stability, that's good, okay? That's okay. But unlocks the division template, no one cares. Oh, but it recruits 5 units into Buenos Aires. Now, these 5 units, I'm going to show you, you're going to instantly change them, and you're going to refit them to your infantry template. Okay? Template. Okay? And so you're effectively going to go from 8, right, to 13 units right off the bat. Now, I always, every time I play Civilization, a nation, whatever, I am thinking of research. Because especially when you only have 2 research slots, I want to 50% it, all right? Go from 2 to 3, right? I want more research. Because the more research I have, the more opportunities I can unlock and the more bonuses I can get, right? 50% more research speed sounds nice to me, right? Especially when you only have 2 research slots. That blows, because there's other nations that have 4 and that get to 5 really quick. Plus, they already have good infrastructure. They already have quadruple your factories. You need to know exactly how you're going to plan with a small nation like Argentina, okay? But Argentina has amazing, things that they can do, and jump starts, like such as I think this is really nice. It's not insane, but it's pretty damn good for 35 days. Okay, so we get the research slot now. Okay, we go to establish a foothold. We can't go to another 35-day, focus if you're not ready for the push against Uruguay. But you should be ready with 13 to 14 divisions with support artillery, because the support artillery is going to give you that nice soft attack and that good push, and it's also going to help defend against Brazil if something happens. Hopefully it works out and I'm not just talking yada yada. Okay. So research, we're going to go after that basic machine tools. Okay. Now the military factories. There's a lot going on right here too. Okay? We're not doing air right now. I'm going to cancel this. No air. We're going to do 2 factories on infantry equipment, and then we're going to click on artillery. And we're going to put our last factory on that artillery. Now, before you click anything, there is brands in the game. Now, as you saw in the little window, when you level up a brand, it's going to be like, hey, put a point into the specific, place you want to put it in the little brand tree, right? You're going to create variant, okay? Okay, this is just stock. There's nothing crazy right here, but it says Military Industrial Organization. This is the brand. We're going to click on this. There's only one brand. Going to click on that. That brand's going to be the FM. You're going to see it right here. Boom. Now that's there. You save it, and you're going to see a little brand symbol pop up right here. Boom. Popped up. Now, you click it, and now now that brand label is on the unit. Okay? The brand is on the unit. Now it's asking you, do you want a brand on your production line? So the brand happens twice. That's why you see it propped up. That's why you see this propped up again. Okay? Now, you can have it. Now, you're always going to just do it the production line, right? Because it says production output cost minus 3%. This is it. Okay, so we're going to go back just so I can just show you. So I'm going to click the artillery, or just the equipment. I'm going to click. I'm just going to... Yeah. You click variant. Oh, okay. We're going to go like this. Let me save it. So this is how it is. So you click this. You're going to click variant. Military organization. I'm going to assign that. It's going to change and be like, okay, we got the brand on there. We're going to save the brand. Boom. It pops up right there. Now I click on that. And now it's telling me the factory belt, what is the production line going to be? I want this. Now, so now that's simple. So this is the brand we put on the artillery right here. Be right back, Oracle. You better tell them to hurry up. Now I gotta go grab a snack. I have some potchkis, by the way. They're actually pretty good. Raspberry flavor. I'm gonna go snack on that. Freaking work calls. You tell me when you're back. Sorry, I'm back? Okay. I'm back too. Give me a second. I've got to get my... Okay. We're back. Okay. See, this was going to be a video and everything, but I don't know how to edit. Well, I do, but I'm just lazy. Anyways. Here we go. Okay. So now we see that we have the brand we put on the unit, and we also have the brand that's on the conveyor belt. All right? That's on the production line, okay? So we need to have that. We need not every unit or every like item, whatever you want to say, vehicle has a brand. Sometimes you need to unlock them or whatever, but in this particular case, we're going to check to see the infantry equipment. So this was already on the line. We're going to left click, create variant, military organization. We're going to see. Oh, it has one. Click it, save it. There's the brand. We're going to click this, and then we want the manufacturer. Brands on the gun, brands on the production line. Okay? And it'll tell you that, hey, production efficiency capped, increase. It's just additional bonuses for your stuff. And it also levels up the brand. Now, if you want to check your brands, you can click on the flag and you can go over towards your military organizations right here, and it'll show all of the brands that are available to you and where they're at. So you got a brand for your infantry equipment, you got a brand for your artillery, anti-air, the artillery, like the land artillery, and like your anti-tank. And then there's your trucks and all that garbage. Great. Okay. So we got 2 factories on the basic infantry. We have a stockpile of 4. Okay. Now, you would say, hey, I have enough equipment to go to battle, right? Nay. Because we need to get artillery up, but also we're going to be exercising. And when you exercise, you lose equipment, right? So we need to make sure this production line is efficient, and so we can just get more guns. Now, people, there might be like an argument to go for the bigger gun, okay? And I'm going to show you why not at the moment. You always want to increase like your weapons, the damage, all that stuff, and that's a good thing to do. But if your resources allow it, okay? So there has to be a balance here towards, hey, how heavy am I going to war? Now, if the war is only Uruguay, which it is only Uruguay, unless if Brazil intervenes and he tries to, mess with you. That's different. Okay. There is if Brazil doesn't mess with you, then you have this window from Uruguay dying towards UNF, which is right here. The Union right here. What is it called? It's just the fascists, okay? The UNF, okay? You need 60% support for this. Once you click on this, this makes it that you can start declaring on people, right? You can just declare right away instead of having a world tension limit or whatever. This makes it so you get war support division. Like, it has a lot of stuff right here, and it is super strong. This is what you need. And it's just super good. But in order to do that, you need this yellow bar or this mustard looking thing, this UNF. This needs to be 60 before you can do that. And I'm going to show you how to get there at good timing. My timing was August 23rd, 1937 UNF. Probably could be done faster, but I thought August 23rd was pretty damn good for where I've come from. Okay. Dockyards. You have 1 dockyard. The convoy, I'm just going to put 5 on there. We only have 1, but the future ones that we get are just going to go to convoys. They're just going to make convoys for right now because we're not going to worry about Navy. That's just not happening, okay? Okay. Missing equipment production, that is the steel. I'm not, so, this is what I was going to say. So, it's just like, well, Papa, why wouldn't I get the better weapon? It has more soft attack, it has more breakthrough, it's a good weapon, right? This is a way better weapon than this. 1936 beats 1918. The reason why we don't go for it is because if we do, we're going to have low efficiency. So during this time, before we attack Uruguay, again, 70 days, another 70, another 70. If we rush this, it's 280 days, right? It's a few months shy, right? Or it's like what? 90 days shy? Yeah, 30 days from actually... What are you doing? That's what I thought. Am I doing the math right? 90 days, 370, because 365 in a year. Okay. um, away from actually failing because this is not the way you're doing it. But let's calculate. 70, 70, 70. It's 210. Now we have 35. Okay, we're just going to do easy math right here. There's 270s right here. So there's 350, 385. Okay, this is 385 days plus the other 70, which is 455. Yeah. Okay, so it's 455 days. So the thing is like I can start building those weapons, but I want to be exercising. So the weapons, so that this is the thing, the weapons that I am making are just going to be destroyed by training. So staying with level 1 uh, weapons that I can make faster, right, than I can make this, that are, it's like the same amount right here, right? It's like 2 and, wait, what the oh, it's heavier production right here. It's heavier production. I thought this was way more. I don't know what I was thinking. Hold on. Doesn't matter. It's more production. I'm still right. Okay. And another thing is, let's say if this was the same production, right? It makes no sense for me to go to that weapon when, because this is war, I can go towards things of eco. I can go to an eco nature, and it only, and Uruguay isn't MO9 worthy. It's M91 plus artillery worthy. Now, if it was MO9 worthy, and if I didn't have this and everyone was dying because I just decided to stick with this, sure, I'll keep some people alive. We'll get the grenade, but we don't need to. We can just stick with this, and I can choose to go for basic machine tools and research speed, because like if I don't go for this, I don't get timing on industry for an extra slot in Buenos Aires for the infrastructure that we built. If I give up research speed, the whole game is off, right? Because the 3%, you slow her down to the 4%, which means you slow her down to the 5, and etc. for everything else. It's just awful. So you want to make sure you get these two, and we don't need to do that, because I did do this before where I did boom, then boom, and then my game was like, it was okay, but it was like something was off, and that's the thing that was off. Okay. So yeah, I thought this cost like an extra steel, but it did not. But anyway, or like the one with the grenade. But I'm not going to, and you don't want to give up so we can trade for steel. We don't have that many factories. We have 6 factories available to us. So we're not going to give 16-17% of our production for 8 resources that we're only using 5 of, right? And we got to say, okay, what's this negative, what is this deficit actually giving us? And so when we hover over, okay, we got political corruption, we're not even thinking about that, we're talking about resources, minus 5% of lack of resources. We can live with that, okay? Minus 5%, don't care, keep building the weapons. When it gets to -8, -9, yeah, we'll talk trade. But during this time, we want to make sure when we're giving away a civilian factory, which has a high, it's very valuable to us. We want to make sure that civilian factory is giving us the full amount of resources. It's giving us that 8 steel. If it's 9 steel, that we're minus, that we have a deficit of, that civilian factory is making it so we have -1 steel now, which is not going to be bad at all. But we don't want to have a -9, -15 deficit, because it's really going to hinder our production. And there's like a certain, like, I don't know what the limit or the number is, but when it gets higher of a deficit, you just seize all production in anything that needs steel, and it's really bad. Okay, so right click on that. Okay, so the focuses, we're going to take Roberto. Roberto is amazing. Okay. Yeah. We're going to go through everything here. Roberto, 120 political power. This is going to jumpstart us. We'll get there when we get there, and I'll show you why. I'll show you what's going on. So we're going to start that. By the way, every time you're researching something, it's going to cost you 1 political power every day to do this. So you get 2.21 a day. So if I research this, now it's giving me 1.21 a day. Okay? So if you don't research something, if you hold off on researching something, you can get an additional political power. Or if you need to wait for a certain whatever, you can wait and still get political power. It's not going to go to waste. Okay. Divisions in training. I train 1 of the infantry. That's it. Now,
Órdenes.
unassigned divisions.
Listo, señor.
I shift, so you can left click or you can shift click from all.
Escuchen.
Now I have a little mixture right here. I got 5 of the division templates that I like. I got a cavalry and I got 2 mountaineers. Okay, mountaineers are strong, but not these ones because there's only 3 of them. Right? If we go over here, we see that there's 3. Soft attacks is 9.2. Okay, let's see if I can shift click for this one. No, this was 27.8. Okay. The mountaineers are really strong in the mountains, of course, and they're unmatched. But for this time being, we don't like the more divisions you have, the more special forces you have, but we don't have a lot of divisions, so this is what we're going to do. We want this template. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to update that, and I'm just going to save that right there. This one's going to be my 9. This one's going to be my 9.2. Okay. And that's going to be 9 infantry and 2 artillery right here later on. Okay? So we're going to build off of this one. And so the main infantry that I'm building right here, we're slowly going to integrate the 9.2 into there. So example, let's say if I have 10 divisions of this infantry and I want to upgrade to artillery, but I don't have enough artillery to upgrade them all. You can select a couple. Let's say I want to select like 3 out of the 10 divisions I have of this one, of this infantry. I select 3 of them, and I can upgrade those 3 divisions into artillery divisions up to the 9.2. So part of my army is strong. But if you decide to upgrade them all and you do not have the equipment for it, such as support equipment or the artillery, the actual thing that you want to add on to there, your army is going to be at a deficit, low supply, and it's going to be hurting. And they won't, exactly, and they won't train. They won't refit correctly. And if they're refitting as well, they lose XP and they lose combat strength. So you do not want to refit on the battle line and not have the amount of resources to refit them. That's recipe for disaster. You don't want to refit during battle in general, right? That's really bad. Okay, so we keep this 9.2 right here. This is cool. Okay. So shift click.
Instrucciones.
I'm going to do this. This is the change division template right here. I'm going to change this. I'm going to refit all of these guys into the division. Now it's going to tell me I have the manpower available. Yep. Because I'm going to need 12,000 more manpower. Yes, we got that. 183k available. Infantry equipment, 4 available. Okay, it's whatever. But we're going to refit them. We're not into battle. Everything's fine. So I'm just press OK. Now these are going to go back down. I think they lose like a level, half a level or something when they refit. But that just happened. So now I don't have to mess around with this cavalry, this mountaineer. I just have my infantry. We're cool right there. We'll mess around with the other stuff later, okay? Now, since they're all selected, I'm going to add the army guy, and I'm going to click assign. Now, we're going to click the guy with the biggest attack. We can go like this. This is Juan. Show me how you did that again? Okay.
Órdenes.
So this right here, change division template. So example, if this had like a artillery on it, if this had artillery,
Sí, señor.
I click right here, and I'm like I wanted to do one.
Escuchen.
So I'm shift clicking, shift click.
Atención.
I shift click, and I want these two divisions to go to the 9-2. It'll say what we need and all that, and those will change. Yeah, that's cool.
Escuchen.
Okay, so we're gonna add the high one, the high skill attack guy right here. Boom. Now we're gonna add the top field marshal, Pedro. Okay, Pedro comes with 2. That's gonna cost 15 command power each. So you're gonna need 30 command power. You're gonna get that in a couple of months, whatever. Okay. Decisions available. Right click that. No one cares. No template. Insufficient resources. We know. Now here is another thing. So we have. I'm gonna press F. We'll get the Navy out of the way really quick. I'm just gonna click on this guy. Click assign. Go for the top guy. Click naval exercises. Done. We don't care. If you want to care and figure it out, sure. I figured it out. But you can only do so much with Argentina's Navy unless if you go out of your way. But the whole entire battle is on land. And you can mess around with some of their trade routes and stuff with like the subs. But if the Navy exercises and stuff, that's just going to be for your Navy experience that you can utilize for possible Marines if you like to, because the Marines late game for Argentina, yeah, either late game or never, but like I would say use the Navy experience to get officer corps and research. It's right here. It's submarine primacy. It's 60% design cost for the submarine and 20% research speed for the submarine. This is good because you have you can just do pure submarine right there, 1940. And when you unlock the submarines, they unlock the tech with it. So the snorkels make it less visible towards the enemy, and the 1940 ships, you can just spam those and just have a heyday. Yeah, more on that later, but like right now, just exercise. Your oil's gonna go down. Stop exercising, so your oil goes up. Repeat. And then you can go over towards your naval doctrine and get trade interdiction, so your subs are really strong. So when you start building them later and you have like the extra naval bases that you do capture to build more things, you could start building those and not put so much investment from your tech into the subs. And usually it should be fine. Okay. F3 now for air. Now we have 30 planes over here, okay? I go like this. They're selected. I dragged, click, drag, select, disband air wings. I disband them. They're not gone, okay? They're just over here stationed in Fugazi land, okay? They're in my hangar somewhere. I can deploy them anywhere I want. That's in my lands with an airfield, right? If I want to deploy them here, I go right here. Now they're right here. Wow. Okay? But right now, I'm going to disband them. I'm going to show you why. We disband them, and we're going to go over to the international market. Now, I'm not going to utilize these planes. I don't need these damn planes. It's just not going to happen. I can use them to attack Uruguay and make my life a little bit easier. But the problem is we want to be as efficient as possible before, because we don't attack. We don't even get to face Uruguay until, what was it, 385 days or some crap like that. It's a long time. It's at least a year before we say, hey, what's up? You know? So these planes are not going to do anything. I mean, we can do air exercises, right? Air experience, but the air experience doesn't mean like I don't even care about that stuff. Like that, it's just It's not going to be beneficial for us at all. I mean, you can make an argument to like get industry license, but like you get this passively from Japan later. Like that's with the Senatachi that we're going to talk about later. Advisor cost, sure. Like you spend less political power getting that, so you only spend what is it? Yeah, 25. Wait, is it 150? Ah, it's 100. So it's 25. Yeah. Wait. No, no, I don't think it's that one actually. Oh, it is 100. Yeah, but you get air experience. It doesn't. This doesn't. It's whatever. You're not going to use this at the moment. The ground support, you're going to use that later for sure. That's cool. But we want stuff that's going to help us out and jumpstart us now. So as you see, we have available planes in reserves. I'm going to click on international market. Nothing selling and buying at the moment. I'm going to go to selling. Or I'm going to go to sell equipment right here. I got nothing selling, so I add equipment to the market. Aircrafts. Okay? This is all of the things that I have available to sell. Now I'm just going to click aircrafts. Click these two. Now it says, how many do you want to sell? One? No, I like to select all of them. 18. So as you see, this is the production that people are going to have to pay me. So example, one, for every one of these planes is 34 production. For every one of these planes is 36 production. So I want to do select all. Now it's 612. I'm going to select all of these. Now it's 432. This right here is how much do you want to sell it? You want to sell it at low value, in the middle, or high value? I give everybody a bargain. I'm going to sell everything at low price. So all of this is 783 production that people can get that for. So I'm going to click add. Now that's on the market. And people get to send for that. They send their construction over for their payment. And I send over convoys to deliver that shipment. Now you also want to click, let's see, how do I get back to the market here? It's not that. Okay. So we're not going to click on anything. Yeah, so this is window 1, that's window 2, and that's window 3. Okay? When you click these all off, you see how this is highlighted? When they're not highlighted, this is window 1. Market options, auto accept purchase request. So if you don't have this check marked, there's going to be boxes appear right here saying, hey, Italy wants to buy your airplanes, and then you have to click accept. I just do auto accept. I put it on the market, you can take it. Now you don't want this check marked if you don't want a certain someone to say you don't want Germany to buy them. You'd be like, no. Sorry, Adolf, not happening. Whatever. But in this situation, of course, you want him to have that. So auto accept, sure. You don't care who takes it actually. In our situation, we just want the damn production so we can get rolling. So boom, that's done. Okay. Now we're trying to get out of toaster economy, all this other crap, ASAP. But our main goals right here, and the political power that we get from a Roberto, the 120, which is a good boost, is we want political power to make political power. I'm going to tell you, the political advisor right here, as you see, the advisor cost is minus 25%. So that's why these are 187. Is because we have something here. We have, what the hell? Something's given us a plus 25. Oh, it's right here. Infamous decade. I can't believe I didn't see it. It's the frickin' red thing. Anyways, political advisor cost plus 25%. Roberto says, no, take that away. And then these will go to 150. Once this is done, we'll have over 200 or something. We get silent workhorse. This is political power gain plus 15%. Okay, so it's going to give us more political power. What I do again is I go over to the tenacious negotiator, which gives us another 10%. Trade deal opinion factor, don't care about that. Political power gain plus 10%. Because Argentina needs a ton of political power, and I found that out the hard way. So this is just the way I play. Play however you want, but this is how I play. 15%, then the 10%, of course. We get that. Done. Um, Now we're going to look over here. Occupied territories. And we're going to click on territory management. The division templates. Okay, this is when you occupy something and, you know, the people are going to be pissed and they need to be managed. So we want the template that has the most. Oh my god. Tell him. I'm going to eat more snacks. Tell me when you're back. Hey, Macarena. Hey, you working hard over there? Yes, sir. I'm learning a lot. Just deep diving over here. It's a real war zone out here. You know what I'm saying? What you doing? Think I'm over here to say hi? Sorry to tell you, so I'm the only one in the phone queue. Oh god. All right, you ready? Okay. Okay. Now there's occupied territories. We're gonna click on here just to go really quick here for you. We're gonna click on the horses. The horses have more suppression. You can hover over it. It says hardness, suppression, manpower. Okay. I actually never seen it like this, but I'm gonna tell you the hardness, how much they can take a hit. You know, from the rebellion side. I mean, if people are rebellion, if you have more hardness, you can take more of a, you deflect the bullets, we'll say. Okay? Stay alive more. The more suppression, the more that they're suppressed. That's really good. It'll lower down, and you can have like a different type of governor or like management for compliance. Now, we're going to click on this. This is more suppression. And now there's different types of laws, okay? It's very easy to understand because I'm going to show you what it is. Now, the more minus there is, the less resistance you have to encounter, but at the cost of compliance. So the compliance, if it's like right here, it's just all resistance. Like this is 100% resistance, but you got regular compliance, and you use less garrisons, which is less manpower. Because you have no one over there, it's just civilians. But over here, you have less resistance. The compliance, people are not going to comply as, much. And then you have minus 35% on required garrisons, okay? So there's, like, you have to find the balance. If just to start off, just do military governor until you get MP, which is a military police. Once you get military police and maybe another row of cavalry, right, of horses, because the more horses you have, I always stay in a combat with a 25 for everything. I'm not sure if the combat with actually applies towards the garrison thing, so I'll have to figure that out. But anyways, I do another row of horses that give more suppression. And then over here, there's military police. Now there's military motorcycles, but those cost vehicles. You have to make the motorcycles and stuff. It's going to take some time to get there, but you can get that from a special project. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, there's military police. So you have this. It'll have 20% suppression bonus, which is great, right? And it's going to cost a little bit of manpower. Definitely worth it all the time. And then another 10% more recovery rate. Awesome. And then another 10%, and it keeps on going, right? Another 10%. So the more military police, the better suppression you have, so you can kind of like toggle on a little bit more compliance, because the more compliance you have, the faster the compliance bar fills up for you to receive more bonuses from the country that you just occupied / captured, annexed, whatever. Okay. Cool. Let's press... Oh!
Todo listo para avanzar.
We're going to press on the people, press Z, and I'm going to go right here on the edge, right click. It's this one right here. The shortcut is Z, and this is creating frontline. So I'm going to delete this, and I'll show you again. We have everybody selected. I'm going to press Z. I want here at this edge. I'm going to right click. This is the furthest we can go. Okay? Now everybody
Escuchen.
is going to go there. Okay? Now I'm going to press X for my offensive line. This is my attack line. I'm going to drag it like this. And they're going to start planning on this line to attack the capital. Now, before a country decides to capitulate or just surrender, right? Be like, hey, you got me, right? Here's my stuff. There has to be a certain limit that you have to reach. This limit is achieved by losses of troops, I'm guessing, but more importantly, by victory points. So as you see, I'm hovering over here. It's telling me who the owner is, the weather, the local time, like who cares. I mean, that applies for like nighttime raids, and I know on the other level, and there's a nighttime penalty for stuff. It does make sense, but when you're playing on 5-speed, it's always freaking night. It's always freaking day. It's just like, oh my gosh. Okay. Then there's victory points. Now, the more victory points someone obtains, the faster they capitulate that other player, that other country. So you see, there's 10 right here. I think there's one right here. There's one right here. There's 2 right here. So as you see, if you just capture those, so if I capture these 2, doesn't do nothing. It's like I didn't do nothing. It's like Fugaz. It's like nothing. I didn't do anything. Unless if the only reason I'm capturing this is to get another angle on something that I want to capture, the 10 mark, right? But if there's no victory points here, it's like whatever. I'm just trying to get a better flank or a better angle somewhere else. But you want to capture these victory points. So when you're actually setting up your attack, typically these victory points are going to be within capital points, right? City points, ports, you know, good infrastructure, you know, like a good resource nodes, things of that nature. They're not going to be out in the middle of frickin' nowhere where there's no resources and it's no man's land type deal, right? So who cares? Typically, right? So we're going to set up the line here, and I'm going to press play, and so everyone's going to the line. Okay. Now, I'm going to click on this guy. Now, you can shift-click, shift, and then left-click, and the bar is going to start rotating, the gear, but there's going to be this little cross, this little circle with a line over it, and it's going to say, okay, we're going to exercise until we hit max level. So you can hit the max level you can achieve with training, with exercise, is level 3, okay? Which is something that you always want to do. Now, for our situation, I'm just going to left click it, because I'm going to train indefinitely, because I need that Army XP. And Army XP is extremely insane in this game, now that there is doctrines and attaches. Attaches are extremely OP, in my opinion, because you can send, if someone's at war and you have good relation with them, you can send an attache to them for 50 command power and 100 political power. Okay? It's a one-time deal. Well, they keep 50 of your command power until it's over. So, like right now, I have a current max of 80. So let's say if I send an attache now, I have 30 left to spend. So let's say if I give them 50, now I only can hit 30 max until I increase my limit more or until I recall the attache back. Now the attache is going to give me 15% of the bonuses that the other nation gets. So if I go right here and I go to send attache, it'll say to maintain the attache, it's going to cost me 50 manpower to maintain. It will cost 100, one time 100 to send a political power to send it, okay? And if you do that, the number one person you want to do that to in the beginning is to Japan. You need to increase relation by 50 or 60. I think it needs to be plus 50, plus 60 relation at least for him to accept. So improve relations early. Not so early, because, you know, improve relations is just like, it improves it really fast. Like within a month, you're already at plus 100. So improve it when you're about to say, hey, I'm going to send the attache over. Send the attache to Japan. Japan will do wonders for you. Well, I'll show you how to send it and all that crap if you don't know how to already. And he's just going to do wonders for you. Because Japan goes hard. Really early. Okay. So we're getting our Navy XP. Don't care, really. Now we're starting to exercise. No air experience. Don't care. Now we're out of fuel. Press F2. Look at, we just off click, and now they're gonna go back, and we're gonna get our fuel back. Wow. Okay. And so no music. Great. Waiting for Roberto. People are just exercising, and we're slowly getting our production efficiency up right here. As you see, we're 4,000. We don't have weapons for nothing right here. Okay? We have no weapons. It ain't working. Rough life. Okay? This is why we're doing what we're doing. Construction, we're building that infrastructure. as well as building that military factory that was right here. Okay. Roberto, it's about to be done in about 10 days. And we're going to get a big 120 political power. And as I said, we'll be over that 200 mark. Okay. Press space to pause. Select the focus. We can... So, there's two ways we can go, but we're going to go towards the slots right away. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You could go over to this. I used to go over to this because you start getting more army XP, but this is only like 7. What is the math here? It's like, it's over 7 like a year or something like that. I think it's like 7.3 or some crap, I forgot. Anyways, and you get a free military factory and you get army XP right away. This is a good bang for your buck focus right here. I like this because it's 35 days. Army XP is great early on. I mean, all the time is good, but especially early to get your, your doctrines or all that other crap, going on. That's good. But we're going to focus on what we came here for. Work with the nationalists, start getting the fascism support, start getting to that. Our main goal is to get to 60 UNF support so we can click this. If we have anything lower than 60, we cannot click this focus because we don't have that support. So we want to make sure we're getting this. The researchers, we go towards Uruguay. And if we have to, we can click 35 days for the Spanish coup. But we want to make sure the Italian diplomacy is done. Because this is how we go. We go researchers, slot, kill Uruguay. Go towards Italian diplomacy. This gets you into a research agreement with Italy. Italy starts off with more research than you, and anything that Italy researched, you get a 15% research speed towards that. So there is a list that I did make. I have to just research just this Italian diplomacy and not research anything, just to double check it, but it's helpful. So you can, in the beginning of the game, you could be like, hey, I know Italy researches this. I'm not going to research that until I do this diplomacy with Italy, this focus, so I can get that 15% and get a little bit ahead, right? Okay. Yeah. So we're going to work with the nationalists. Good. That political power is going to make more political power with the silent workhorse. Boom. Now, I'm not going to upgrade. Let's say if I had 10 army experience right now, I'm not going to upgrade the support artillery right now just to train them just so they can die. Because I'm making 1.43 a week. These suckers are expensive. That's why I'm making garbage equipment. And we're just leaving it like that. Okay. So infrastructure is being made. And as you see, we made that infrastructure. And as you see, remember it was 60%, now it's 80%. Because 4 infrastructure times 20 equals 80. We are making that last one right here, so this will be 100%. Okay. We got that research done. We're going to do the other research. 4% mark. Boom. Okay. Once we hit 150 political power, we're going to go to Tenacious Negotiator. Everything is looking good. As you see on the market, Mexico delivered all this, and we were receiving some of those factories, right? I think, what do we have here? 12 civilian. Okay, so now we have 7, okay. We need to get out of the toaster economy right away, because toaster economy is freaking nuts. But it's inefficient to make civilian or military factories while you have this debuff. So now we're going to go to tenacious. Boom. Now we're making 1.79 political power per day. Okay. Oh, we also have 30 command power, 31. So we can go over towards our marshal. Click him. I go with breakthrough. And offensive, organization when moving, loss when moving, minus 30 and plus attack. Boom, done. Organization is also, you know, good, all that crap. If you want to go defensive, max entrenchment, that's insane for defending. Okay. Now, this is done. Now we go cut ties with Britain. The reason why I hold off on the toaster economy, I'd be like, well, Papa, since the toaster economy is minus 30%, you know, why wouldn't we want to take care of that first? Because it costs more to change it. It costs not that much more, but it costs 10% more. So this is 165, it's usually 150. There's argument to do that, but during this time I say to myself, okay, we can utilize this and, you know, build infrastructure and get making Buenos Aires great. So we're going to cut ties with Britain, plus we can use the political power to make more political power, which makes sense in my book. Right. As you see, we're not making a lot of army XP, but we're making some army XP early. Is extremely good. That's why I do like this. So as you see, basic machine tools is done. Now we can go for dispersed industry for that plus 20%. That's going to be good. We will be building a military factory, but watch this. Cut ties with Britain is done in 40 days. Okay? This is done on the 29th of June, so in 10 days. So 30 days, I am making a military factory on that debuff for 30 days, but it's going to change. Because right when we cut ties with Britain, we can get cheaper trade cost laws, or cheaper trade laws costs, excuse me. Trade cost laws. Ain't no law. Okay, and we'll be about 4 off, 5 off shy. Okay, so we're 4 off. So 146, we just have to wait a day or 2 days, right, to get to 150. Now, as you see, this changed to 150 because we got that debuff taken off. So cut ties with Britain. Now we're going to go over to corporatism. Okay, this is plus 50 political. This is the banger that I said that's for 35. Really good bang for your buck right here. We're going to click that. Okay. Now I'm going to press play. Boom. Now, partial mobilization, we're going to click yes, but I'm going to show you. We're at 5. This changes to 3. Now, instead of using 5 factories for consumer goods, now they're only using 3 because I moved to partial mobilization. And I use I'm trying to use all my political power in the correct place. Okay? So that's good. Now we're just waiting for the change in fascism. Now there's 2 things that we need to do. Okay? And so corporatism, so this is how I see it. So once corporatism is done, we're going to have 110 political power. So watch. I'm just... Okay. So 110 political power. Now, I could wait for the fascism guy, right? Okay. This is very important in order to get the 60% for the UNF, right? We want the UNF to be 60% so we can get this done. We do have a little bit of time before then, but since we have 110, we do have the required amount to get an army offensive. So the division attack, yeah, we're going to utilize this to attack Uruguay later, but it's going to give us 0.3 army experience gained daily, okay? Now, to show you how much that is, we've been doing army exercises that is giving us 0.049. We'll just say 0.05, okay? This effectively is giving us 6 times more XP, pretty much for free in a sense. I mean, we pay 100 political power to get there, but we're not, once we pay that, it's a one-time deal, and it gives us command power increase, right? That's for more attaches later that we're talking about, but we don't have to spend equipment for this. You spend political power, boom, now we got this permanent 0.3. I say get this, because the sooner you get army experience, the better, because this is going to help us out in the long run for completing our trees over here for our land doctrines. So when we click this, all of these will start getting XP. Once this is unlocked, these start reserving XP from the attaches of other nations, as well as, you know, things that we're doing, you know, in the war. Okay. So I click Chief of Army, boom, click that. Now we're getting 0.3 from Rodriguez, and we're getting the 0.05, we'll say, from the army exercises. This is good. Now we have 2 military factories, okay? I would say just put them all on probably the infantry equipment here, because the guns first, and then we'll get the artillery later here. Now we're going to be able to complete this military factory pretty soon. We're going to go over towards, we're rushing towards the research slot. This is our number, this is our bread and butter. This is like the 50% that we need in order to research more. So I'm going to click this. Now this focus is 5% base stability. That's great, but the main thing is it's at 5 units that we get for free. This is going to help our push, okay? Because this is extremely effective, and it's something that we want. This is like giving us 60% more power, we'll say, because 60% of like 8 divisions is 4.8, right? So it's more than 60%, you know, and it's going to help us out. Because if we were to push Uruguay, we wouldn't be there, right? We would have no, we just would have no equipment. It's rough life. Okay. Now we have all this. Now our next priority for political power is to get the fascism guy, because we need that support ASAP. Because right now, we're not getting that much, and we really, really need it, okay? And especially, as you see, it says, at this popularity, effects are scaled to 33%. That's rough. So we need this guy really bad if we want to progress through this focus tree, okay? So 150 political power, awesome. Let's press play. Okay. Oh, here's the example too, for that that we're talking about.
Sí, señor.
Let's say if I wanted to go. Wait, yeah. We're gonna change. We're gonna edit this, and I'm gonna add that support artillery. See the support artillery right here, 27, 42. Okay, so it's giving us 15 soft attack just for having a support, and it's only cost 12 artillery. Now, if you were to put a regular artillery in the line, it's gonna cost you more army XP to put it there. And it's going to cost double the amount of artillery. It will give you more soft attack. It'll give you more stats, but it's just going to cost more in general. And support artillery is another positive thing, it doesn't cost you combat with either. So we're going to save that for the 9-2.
Escuchen.
Wait, tell me these aren't 9-2.
Órdenes.
That's not 9-2. Okay, these are all 2. Okay, so let's say if I want it, let's say, hey, I want to change this to 9-2. Well, we don't have the available towed artillery, and we need more equipment. We need all this. We want to be like, okay, I don't want them to have low equipment, and I don't want to, get caught. So let's just go with
Instrucciones.
4, and you would choose like your most experienced guys, but these are all this experience. Okay, cool. Now you change. Now it's only 62, or now it's only 48 total artillery. You have 62 available, so that could happen. We still need infantry equipment. That's what we're working up to. But that's where you'd be like, hey, I can upgrade half of my army effectively, fully, right? Fully supplied, compared to upgrading everybody and everybody's screwed, right? So, yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's like all quiet here. I've listened so much to the music. Kind of over the music right now. I mean, I love the music, don't get me wrong, but damn. Oh, and it's also, and for the Itachis too, it's also, feel that? Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to listen to the waves, So 150 political power for the fascist guy, okay? 1937 is a strong year because in July 7th, I think it's July 7th, Marco Polo happens. That's when Japan attacks. That's when you want your timing for 100 political power, 50 command power, and good relations with Japan to be active. Okay. Okay. So a lot just happened here. We got a division.
Listo, señor.
We got 5 of the divisions from the focus, instantly changing them to division infantry. Done. We're going to be low on equipment, but we're just changing that right away. They're going there. Change them, right-clicking on this guy. Now it's 13 out of 25. 8 plus 5 is 13. Done. Okay, free military factories. Okay, we just made one. So we're going to go more towards... See, this is equipped. This is stockpiled because it's not being utilized in a template that we have. So it's just being stockpiled. Great. That's cool. Now we're going to go over here and use another military factory. We are -9 now. Now I click on this, right? I'm just like, okay, -9. The modifier is on here. I'm going to hover over it. -10% political... Don't get it. -12% lack of resources. That's a little rough. This one is -40% lack of resources. That's getting kind of out of hand. We could still keep this here, but our main goal is to be supplied, right? Now, if I wasn't at war and I was medium supplied, I wouldn't care so much. But then again, I'd always like to keep this number between 0 or between 1 million and -7, okay? Now, if I have -8 or more, that's when I could fully utilize a civilian factory to give me all of those resources. I'm not going to trade a civilian factory for -7 or -2, just for a couple percentages, unless if I'm giga rich, right? And I'd be like, oh, here, it's fine, I want all the resource, I have all the resource. No, it's not like that. So, okay. Now, disperse industry, okay, that's going to be done in 45 days. Now, we're going to see what we're going to build. Again, we can build another military factory. This is 10 out of 10. Once disperse industry is done, we're going to build a civilian factory here, okay? So now we're going to go over here to Tusawan. We're going to go over here and build one military factory. So we have a military factory here and a military factory here at the 40%. Just build one. We're not gonna shift click and go, oh yeah, a little bit of that. No. Shift right click. One left click. That's it. That's going to be done in March 8th. It's going to take some time. We're going to get there. Moving on. Now we go over to the research slot. Cool. We're going to wait to get the fascism guy over here. And we're still training. We're still getting Army XP. We're waiting for this number to reach 100. Once the because we already changed our template over here on the 9-2 for one support artillery. That's all we need to destroy Uruguay is to destroy them effectively, I would say. If you want to add more artillery, sure, but I think it's a mistake because I know it's a mistake to add more than just the support artillery because you want to utilize that for opening up your land doctrine so Japan can do work and reserve XP in those categories, in these categories right here. So once you get 100, you click on Superior Firepower. That's the one I click. You can choose probably Grand Battle Plan. That's also a decent one. And then once you click on that, then you'll start seeing Japan do work in infantry, artillery, and operations. And a tiny bit in armor. But you're going to be heavily invested into 1, 2, and 4 right here. Okay. Now, waiting for 150 political power, we're going to press pause right here. Boom. And we're going to click on the fascist guy. Boom. Now, he's going to give us 0.3 because there's a 33% effectiveness on the popularity. Okay? It'll show him that he's... we're going to call him Nemo. Nemo is over here. And it shows you how much of a change he's doing. 0.03. So the effective daily change is 0.04, and the other parties are slowly going down. Now, in order to manipulate this, we need to make sure the other parties are going down. At 0.1 and at 0.02, that's not enough. I mean, over the long run, sure, maybe, but we need to get to here. So we're going to utilize the political power that we have to do anti-democratic and communist raids over here. And this will have us lose stability, but it will gain weekly stability as well as minusing the support from those other parties. Before I do this action, though, I want to improve worker conditions one time because this is a fantastic thing to do early on when you do not have a lot of factories. You're going to do it possibly one more time to stabilize your economy for Argentina. I can't say that for other countries because they are different, way different. Sometimes you start out at 10 stability at some country. It's a nightmare for other countries, right? But for this in general, you can just do this one time because this is when your factory count is low because it does, the output of your factories are -10, but you don't have that many right here. So the hit is, it's a lower blow, lower, effective, whatever. And you get weekly stability, and your consumer factories is 10%, whatever. So more weekly stability, that's what you want, okay? And that's active for a while. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to start doing anti-democratic and communist raids. When these are done, you're going to ban one at a time. When you ban a faction, their percentages get split to the remaining factions. So if there's 4 factions, and the one that you ban has, we'll say, 12% of popularity, well, there's 3 remaining factions, right? So 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 4% goes to one, goes to another, and goes to the third. So you got to do the math and say, okay, how should I ban them now? Should I do another raid? Whatever it is. So you can make sure you do that at the correct time. Yeah. So now we're going to get this research slot. Now, you can be greedy for, let's say if you wanted to do air, you wanted to do maybe Navy. There's there's a ton of things you can do with political power at this time, but you only can do it to one thing, because as I said, you want to do the anti-democratic raids. If you're doing the fascist thing, I highly suggest doing the raids. But you can go over towards, this is where you can say, hey, I want to go towards Navy. You know, you can get tons of Navy XP, you can get tons of Air XP, whatever, by these certain advisors. Or you could just man up for your, you know, your army later on or something. But like, then again, you can't do the army thing until you get UNF. That's why UNF is so powerful to justify war goals. So you can't just mess around with this. I eyeball June, and I make sure we listen to the news about Japan. Let's see. Yeah. So we're gonna save. So you could save like 100 and get one of these if you wanted to, but
We're going hunting.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks. Zeke's coming with us.
All right. Good. Bring your stuff. You're spraying stuff, right? Pepper spray. They're going Pokemon hunting. Yeah, always got to. I mean, they're smart enough, but I'm just saying, like, and it's daylight. But you know, you don't go out at nighttime and do the You know, people get freaking robbed. You know, they used to set up traps for, you know, the Pokemon, you know, goers, right? And they would catch him off guard and just, you know, beat the hell out of them and take their stuff. So you gotta be careful out there. Yeah. Yeah. Just don't do that crap at night. I don't care what's out there, it's not worth it. Anyways. So we're going after this. We're going to save our political power here, and we're going to go towards improved worker conditions, okay? Because that's another thing. Improved worker conditions increases our stability. That's one thing. That's why it's so damn good, because you got to factor in, when you go to war, you lose an automatic 20% from going to war, okay? So you got to be really careful on that, because minus stability means everything is lower down. As we hover over here, it shows it affects political power and your factories, and as well as resistance and all this other stuff in your territories. It's just an overall goody good, okay? So if you're doing this, you can get more factories from your consumer goods, doing more work, and you have more political power to make decisions for your empire. It's good stuff. So that's why we want to do that, because more political power means we can click these buttons because we have more of a stockpile and we got it faster, right? And then after this is all done, we can use the political power for other decisions that are going to be really good, like excavation 3, or, you know, immigration from, you know, into Buenos Aires and Santa Fe and etc. You know, like if you decide to click on the immigration way, because that's really good for manpower later on, especially when you go down this tree for the research. Plus 10% is good, especially with stability, and another 5% for recruitable population. Argentina's really cool. So, I mean, this could be a, you know, somewhat of a bait, as I was talking about, because it's a maze where you're just like, ooh, look at that piece of candy. And you're like, oh hell, I didn't do any of this, you know, or vice versa. It just, you know, this is another research slot. I'm not saying it's baited, but I'm like, I go for the research because I want to scale. But if you want to take over the world really fast, you go over here to where you get, like, you know, division over here. You get crazy advisors right away, you know. You get closer to, you know, breakthrough progress with tech. It's super good. Fun. So now, okay, disperse industry. Now, this is what I was talking about beforehand, okay? Now, there's a 20% increase to 10, so it should be 10 out of 12. For sure, 11. But we're going to click on this. Civilian, it's 10 out of 11, okay? There must be, you know, some percentage factors. But yeah, it's 10 out of 11. And now when we click this, this is going to be done extremely fast because we got 100% efficiency out of this. And this number is only going to keep on growing because we're going to get more. Later on, it scales like crazy because look at, there's region-wide industrial integration, 100. We're going to have a ton of political power later, but every time I click this, it's another building spot in Buenos Aires, right? Every time I get dispersed industry, or if you chose another industry, right, like concentrated, whatever, you're going to get more building slots. You're going to, and this goes for, other, and not just Buenos Aires, but it goes for other, high level infrastructure areas. So it's just a nice thing to have. And you always want to, prioritize the industry tax. Oh, excuse me, right here. Because of that 20%. Say, hey, I'm going to be building something here really soon. Do I have a slot? If not, be proactive instead of reactive. So when you do, or when you are able to build something, you can build it with great efficiency. Okay. Now, still, we got to look over here and be like, okay, how fast are we going to be fighting here? Hey, Potato, what's up? Yo. So now I'm going to go over towards Foothold after this. So I have 94 days left for this fight, right? I can kill them with ease, but I can do a little bit more efficient with the support weapons. Or I could just go giga greedy and I'm like, you know what? I just want to go, like, it's really close to December, right? So the further away you are from the year 1937, the more of a penalty you're going to get. But this is 0.01. We're going to go dispersed energy, industry. We can do this. Or we can play the safe card and do support weapons and be more efficient with our people, lose less stuff because we are attacking, or we're just stronger with our attack. Sure, and we can just get this out of the way. Now, I believe the Italians do have this on their research, so you could save 15% on this, and the Italians go concentrated industry rather than dispersed industry. So you can do a scaling and go towards, you can just go like, hey, I want to do construction because we need to get that out of the way, and you can go dispersed right here because you are going to get another slot in 24 days, right? So that can actually go towards, well, we're just going to kill Uruguay and then that's it. I mean, unless if Brazil interferes, that's something else. We're not going to do support equipment because we have nothing to use the support equipment for. Support artillery doesn't need support equipment, okay? We can use radio for another effective, but that says 196 days. The fight begins 94 days, okay? So we can say, do we want this? Yay or nay? It all depends. I mean, we could just wait for the Italians, but what we're going to do is use that extra research slot for improved machine tools and call it a day. We're going to get giga greedy with our scaling. So we're going to wait. So yeah, we got to wait for 100 political power, and then we're going to get improved worker conditions. Insane eco grade. Yeah, Potato, like I've been working on this for a freaking minute. Like I wasn't streaming, I was just like working on like the tech and stuff, and like and dude, like I'm on the dot for like I'm off by 4 political power. I just have to wait 2 days on it, and it's good. So we're at 100 right here. Now we're gonna press improve worker conditions, and this is going to give us more political power. As I told you, it's going to give us more of everything that we need. All right, do it one time, and then wait a little bit to where you're like maybe like a year or something, just to see like where you're at, and then you can press it again when this pops up, and that's all you need to really do for Argentina, because you really are not going to lose anything else. I mean, you're going to be at between like 80 and like 85%. So anything more would be like it could be a waste, but then again, if you're at war, you're already minus 20%, so it's still good. So now we're at the researcher slot. By the way, when I click location, left click, then left click this, and it'll show red.
Sí, señor.
Never mind. Click, and it's going to show red, and it's going to assign to a general with an order. With an order. Okay. But damn, he was not building anything because we needed that infantry equipment so bad. Okay, and we still need it so bad. Oh, I didn't even do this. So this is what I was explaining before I forgot to do this. Okay, so remember I said if it's -8 and plus, that's when we're going to throw out a civilian factory because it's going to cut down our scaling, our production, but for our buildings, but we need the scaling and the production and the efficiency for our weapons. So we have all these options, right? This is how many they have total, 622, and this is how many they have available, 502. Okay. That's how many they have left to export. Now, depending on who you go in the tree, so there's communist, democratic, and fascist. We're going fascist. I want to give my civilian factory, I want to buy from my allies access. I want to, do that with either Germany or Italy, okay? Or Japan, But Japan doesn't really... Where the hell is Japan, actually? He's right here. So you could go either way with this. Japan or Germany are best. Italy is dog. So don't ever trade to Italy unless that's your only go-to. The 3 powers, right? There's only 2 powers, really. Okay? But trade to them so they get the additional civilian factory, right? Because otherwise they just have all these resources for sale and no one else is buying. Okay? So we're going to trade over to Germany because we know that Germany is going to do a push later on. No, you know what? We'll trade to Japan. I think I want to trade to Japan. So it's always going to go to your max right here. So like when I click on here, it's always going to say, okay, 2 factories for 16 because it's covering the full amount of the 9 because 1 can't cover 9. 1 only can cover up to 8. But we're only going to send 8. So we're going to change this to 1. Boom. It's not going to change until we press space. I'm going to press space twice, so it's going to play pause. So play pause. Okay? And now it's -1. Now the things that I'm building don't have much of a lack of efficiency. Okay? And so now we're going to press play. We're going to get the researcher slot here. Okay. And select focus. Now we're in a... oh, wait. How did I play this? Hold on. Oh, that's right. I actually rushed. Okay. So this is what happened when I realized this. I could go towards Uruguay right now. Okay? This could happen. Or we see what we have available and do we have enough supply in order to fight. Now, if you see this plus mark, right? This reinforcement mark, you are not ready with the divisions that you have. Your divisions lack weapons, especially these garbage weapons. So there is a couple things you can do here. You can say, stop training.
Todo listo para avanzar.
Because everybody's trained. I didn't do the shift click right here. I've been training this whole entire time to get maximum amount of army experience to get to my land doctrine as fast as possible. This is the way we took. Okay? We are using equipment as we train. Okay? So, excuse me. I gotta get some water. So, but my priorities in the game are to maximize my... It's either research or my production. Like my civ factories, my mill factories. So what I found out is when I first started... So let's just go back in time for a second. When I first started playing Argentina, I said, "Wow, look at this tree. This is goodies right here." Because I'm like, okay, I want to go fascist, right? Because the Allies always win, and we need to, have a fight, right? Because we know that Hitler has a really big chance to fall, and the Allies come over and they start helping out Colombia and Venezuela when I'm right there because I'm a noob and I didn't take care of them earlier, right? And Senor Hitler says hi, I said what's up, and then we all die together. End of story, right? But I clicked on fascism, and then I like looked over here. I'm like, oh, civilian factory, 2 times research bonus. Oh, damn, civilian factory, military factory. This is the whole, and then this right here. This is a good one, but it takes 70 days. But this is your industrial concern. It costs 50, and it's minus 5% on consumer goods, and minus 20 or plus 20% industrial research speed. Oh, unbelievable, great. But when you go this route, you don't have justification power. For then, you don't have power. So I was saying to myself, wow, why wouldn't I go over this? Because you don't have justification power. You can't get everybody else's land. And I say, well, everybody else has the things that I want. Like if we take a look at the map, if I add like 10 factories, that's cool and everything. But for the amount of resources that I have, what are we lacking here? We're lacking steel, right? So Uruguay is a little piece of pie. It has 6 steel and 3 oil. It's okay for a free kill, right? We take this. This is good. Brazil has coal, but most importantly, rubber. And the access over to the Netherlands and United Kingdom, which have the aluminum. All right? These things are, it's a snowball. Right? The tree, if you look at the tree, it goes into a line of the direction you're supposed to go. North, because you ain't going south. Anyways. So, you go over here, Paraguay, Chile, the old enemy, Brazil, bonuses, right? And then I start looking, man, I don't want to improve. I want to improve my land, but I don't want to be stuck into just improving my land while everybody else has insane land or really decent land, and they can make my life harder when I could just strike with the amount of resources right now because I get the free kill. What do we need? We just need guns, a little bit of tungsten, for the artillery, right? And just steel. This is what we need. We need guns, artillery. Call it a day, okay? And then when we get some rubber and aluminum, we can just go ahead and make some planes and get some air security. But before that time, before anything else matters, we just need steel, and we don't care about the tungsten. We just need steel. Uruguay has a steel. Chile, once we kill Paraguay, no, we go Uruguay and then we kill Chile. That's how I go. Uruguay, Chile, Paraguay, Brazil. Okay? Because look at this. Chile has 24, 37. This is without maximum infrastructure. Okay, it doesn't show it, but like when you have infrastructure, infrastructure also increases the resources of the area. So if I go right here, like look at 6 oil, I put 2 infrastructure down right there. It's increasing the oil from the land. Now I put 4. Now it's another oil, right? Some give you a lot more. Like if I go over to, it's like right here, the tungsten, plus 4, plus 9, 13, 18. Now it's increasing the resources. So the more resources there are, the more the infrastructure is going to benefit that specific area, as well as certain things in the tech tree, right? When you go over here towards excavation, you get 10% resource gain efficiency from there. So all of this together, I said, yeah, these things are nice. These things are nice. But other people's land is better. Okay? The only thing that I'm trying not to go for this tree, like I want to get the research slot. But in order to get 45 factories, you get 45 factories faster when you capture, when you attack. That's why we go UNF for justification. This gives us the power of the fascists to go and and annex land. Okay, and then once we get and this tree is great too. I mean, like look at the war machine. Everything is calculated. Yeah. And so right here, 35 days, 3 military factories. Sign me up. That's nice. That's really nice. Preparations for war. This is also a good one. It gives you supply hub. Supply hubs are 20,000 production. Okay? So it gives you a supply hub to Paraguay and to the south of Chile. The one south of Chile it's whatever. But it gives you the idea of what to do, right? Dominate the south. Kill them. By the way, as you see, I kill Uruguay first. Then I go for Chile. But as you see right here, it goes Paraguay and then Chile. So when I kill Chile, I go and get the conquer Paraguay thing. So I don't have to justify. I just instantly annex. And then I go towards Chile. But I already killed them. So I get to click on this. And instead of saying start, it'll say bypass. And it will automatically complete it because they no longer exist. I already captured it. So I automatically goes towards the Brazil one and I kill them with maximum efficiency you can in this time frame, right? So that's cool. I thought that was cool. Anyways. But the main PowerPoints over here is get this, and then you can get the research bonuses. These are all good. Production, 2 of them for production, 1 for electronics. If you do this correct order, you get this for the 1940. Right here for the improved computing machine for another 8% research speed, which is really good. Okay? That's why we do that a little bit later. Yep. Construction speed. This is just good. Like, you get this 10%. It would be nice to get the 10% as early as possible, but you get this while you're going for another research slot. You can't do this one early because you need 45 total factories. But after you're done conquering land right here, you will have that amount. It just happens. Yeah, this also comes with with an advisor too. Where the hell is he? Yeah, it's right. We would. Oh, when you go to UNF, this guy leaves the advisor slot and he joins. He becomes your leader. So it effectively opens a slot here. And then you get the university speed guy, the research speed guy, right here from the technical schools, which is right here. Yeah, you get plus 10% research speed, but there's a problem here because I used to go for the research guy, but I really liked compassionate because it gives you stability. It's good. It's always good. It's whatever. Improved relations opinion, whatever. My favorite is the minus 5% on resistance target and compliance growth speed, so I can start rising the bar of compliance for the nations for because I'm killing everybody on South America. I'm annexing everybody. And I want the compliance to be as fast as possible. So the compassionate works really well, and then I just have plus 25% political power from these two over here. Okay, now that we completed that, we're going to rush, after fascist researchers, we're going to go towards Italian diplomacy. We're rushing this because whatever the Italians researched, we get 15% faster, and then we can kill Argentina. So we're going to go towards our research right here. It's 1937. And so we can see, we can start to get ready for Argentina a little bit. Let me see. As I do research tools. Anyways. Now, during this time, we want to use our political power to lower down the, we want to do the raids. So every time when we get 50, so I'm going to press pause, we're going to look to see who has the lowest one. So communists, I believe hard stops around like between, I think it's at 10 or 11. And then they have a daily change of 0.00. And the Democrats, but they have 0.02 at the moment. So we want that to stay there, and we want to destroy the Democrats right here. So we go towards the Democratic raids right here, anti-demo. Click that, done. That's going to cost us as well. So that's another thing. That's another reason why we do improve worker conditions, to increase our stability, because we're getting decreased stability by doing these raids, but we're slowly recovering it weekly from the improved, as well as recovering it from the raids. But we do lose a flat 10% every time we do the raids, but it does slowly recover up. Then we get more support from this. Okay. And this also, if you wanted to send an attaché to Italy, you can instantly, because you get 50 opinion of Italy right away. Or, well, I mean after this. Doctrines available. We're not going to touch this until we hit 100. Navy XP. I mean, this guy can go do exercises. Sufficient resources. That's fun to know. Shoot, we have like... Hold on. We have like no frickin' supply here. Huh.
¡Atención!
I'm trying to remember how I frickin' did this. We're gonna change that. Oh, sorry. I spaced out there for a second. Anti-commie. Okay. So, we're getting close. Not that close, but in July, we have to watch out. Because in July is Marco Polo. July 7th, right? So we want to make sure our relations with Japan are up when that happens. And we're not... When we get 100 political power, we're not going to use that to ban any of the parties until the raids are done. So we have maximum efficiency for that. Oh. And this is what we can do right here. Watch this. That's what it is. Okay. So as this is getting done, we can go over to the Spanish coup. Get this. We wait, and then we're going to ban the Democratic Party once in 20 days. We want to make sure that we do this right away, the Spanish coup. The reason for this is because we get 50 political power. The base ability, yeah, that sucks. We get to send volunteers to Spain. Once, if we're not in war, we get to send volunteers that are going to gain XP, okay? And it's going to help our diplomatic drive. So it's like if we see like nationalist Spain and regular Republic Spain, we want to help the nationalist Spain out because that's the fascism side that's going to help out our side of the globe on the east side, right? Their side of the globe. So another thing is it goes over to invite Spanish nationalists. This is also 35 days, but this gives us 25,000 manpower. It's a lot now, but it's not a lot later. But what is crazy is 75 Army XP to unlock the full potential of a doctrine. Because as you see, once you unlock a doctrine, let's say if we unlock superior firepower right now, and we have Japan, we say what's up to Japan. In Japan, we send an Itachi. He's going to give us XP, but he's only going to give us reserve XP until we unlock a column here, until we unlock infantry. Okay? If we don't unlock any of these, we just unlock just the doctrine itself, it's only going to give us, I believe it's 15 or 25% of true value of the 15% of the Itachi's XP towards the column. So you'll see what I'm talking about once we unlock this. I forgot what the exact numbers are, but at this time I'm going to improve relations with Japan because it's May. So we just click here, click improve. 15 days we ban the Dems. Doctrines available. Once we hit 100, okay, I'm going to stop training my people.
Listo, señor.
I'm just going to stop them right now. Okay. And now we can establish a foothold. And now we have 70 days to prepare for the push. Okay? Oh, shit. I didn't mean to. We're not building that. Okay. Good. And the things that we're not building in the 100%, we're going to build in the 40. So if I wanted to build this military factory, it's going to be there. But dispersed industry is going to give us another slot here. I believe it's going to give us another slot. We'll see. Okay. So now the Dems are no longer being rated. So we look over here. There's 7. Okay, so it's probably going to split. It's going to split like 3-3 between the communists, the UNF, and the non-aligned. Okay, so this is going to be like 15-16. This is going to be like 50. You'll see it right here. So I'm going to ban Dems. And the amount that they have left is the amount of stability you lose. So the higher the percentage of the party, the more stability you lose. So you want to make sure their popularity is as low as you can get it efficiently, so you lose less stability. Okay? And that's another reason why you do improved worker conditions, because it's that good. Stability is king. You know, it's just pretty good. Okay. Now we wait 59 days. But as you see, yep, see, 15 and 50, right? I said 15, 16, whatever, and 50. Boom. Now there's 0. It's going to stay at 0. And as you see, the daily change for the commies is minus 0.05. If we didn't have the raid going on, it wouldn't be changed. That's effectively 0.00 without the raid. But since we're raiding, you know, it has that minus. All right, so we're going to save our political power for that. And this is where you could spend your political power on something else, but don't. Wait for Japan to declare. And that's where the Itachi is going to be sent. So there's 2 things happening. There's 1 thing happening in a second. This is changing to 100. Boom. Doctrine unlocked. We got 100. Select superior firepower, because it's going to give line artillery and support artillery soft attack. Okay? You can do planning, that's fine, whatever. Division speed, if you want to do that, or even non-combat penalties, that's all right too. But we're just going to focus on artillery because we're going to build a lot of it later on. Unlock. Now, since we haven't unlocked this column, we reserve points in the mastery. Until a doctrine has been unlocked, 25% of gained mastery is reserved, up to a maximum of 200. Okay. So you want to unlock it to get 4 times the amount you would have, right? Because you're only getting 25%, right? 4 times 25 is 100. You want to make sure you're unlocking it. But you want to see if you're gaining in all the categories, you want to unlock the category that's going to benefit you the most. And then secondly is that has the most reserved in it. Because you're going to see if this one has like 4, but then this one has like 10, but they're both an equal value to you. You're gonna be like, well, I want to do the one with 10 over here because it's 2.5 times more. Because like 4 times 2.5 is 10, and you got 10 right over here, reserved. And then once you unlock it, it's actually times 4, and then it's like if you in the same amount of time, you're gonna get 40, right? So you kind of want to say, okay, what, like when I click here, which ones do I want? So when you can click it and you can see which ones it unlocks, right? Well, I'm going to do assault infantry right here, but let's say if I was playing defense, you can unlock that for 50, and now you can have more entrenchment speed or something like that if you're like in a pickle or, it's cool. Okay. -3, that's fine. We're saving our political power for Japan. We press play. Machine tools, okay. Now, that's done. Now, Italy researched radio, okay? They researched the better gun. Support equipment. Airplanes, which we'll use later, right? You don't want to... That's one thing right here. You don't want to research the airplane until you get the industry license, because this gives you 15% towards all of them. I picked this one. This one's also good for the daily gain too. I mean, they're all in their respect. Look at me, I'm talking like I play Hearts of Iron. Ooh, wow. Anyways, so we're gonna unlock radio because this is pretty good. Or since we're going to war, we can research this pretty soon. Let's see, which one can we research right away that's gonna affect the battle? I mean, radio is just good, but so is, let's see, the artillery, soft attack. 136 days, that means we'll be at war for 50 something days. Yeah, we can do this one. And this will also give us brand XP too. So when you see this like little research vial, it literally says, hey, do you want to spend a little bit of political power for a bonus towards your brand, brand XP. And you can see your brand, by the way, again when you click here on the material equipment, and you can see what brand is being affected. So it's not being affected by this one because that was the guns. It's being affected by the artillery manufacturer right here. And this is where you would click this, see the details, and see, how far the bar is reached, the funds it's reached for it. Once you hit level 6 on the size, level 6 right here, then you get to unlock a policy right here. So it says current size more than 5, which is 6. You get to unlock a special bonus for a flat 25 political power fee. Gosh, I need more water. Okay. June 23rd. Okay, so we got to be ready for Japan. Okay. Yeah. And we still have the raids going on for the commies, so we're not banning the commies until that's done. Okay. July 3rd. It's July 3rd, okay. First week of July. It's pretty close. So now, first we're going to research first. Okay. We can go for more research. But the thing is like now we got to, this is the thing with the battle. How long is this battle going to last? And what am I going to do after the battle? Okay. So before we get over to Japan, we're saying this. We're going to attack Uruguay. Cool. Right? I can... How far are we towards a division? This is another thing. If we wanted to have, like, a division over here, we could... If it's 20% done, we can instantly deploy it to have another foot on the ground. Don't really need to do that. I kill Uruguay. I put a defensive line against Brazil. Unless Brazil, you know, tends to be a little froggy. Usually Brazil doesn't do jack. But if he does, we'll be ready. That's why we have the support artillery to, you know, kill Uruguay fast and then defend against this whack job. If Brazil decides to do something, we can send part of our military and do a fallback line and go something like this to have some divisions cover this area so they can't push through this crack right here, because they don't have military access of Paraguay right here. This little creek, crack, whatever, this is all they can push through. And a little bit of Uruguay, I believe they can too, because I would be able to capture this territory if they don't have military access from Uruguay. Then any territory that I captured is mine at the moment, which means they can pass through it. Okay? So you could do a thing called a fallback line to be like, hey, I want to make sure like this area is covered, and then all the units would stand right here guarding this area, and they would have to fight at that specific area. Cool. Okay. Let's check our template again. 9-2. It's looking pretty good. Okay. So the reason why I say what are we going to be doing in the next, you know, soon, is because do I need to research support weapons? No. Because the fight is only going to take like 90 days, like 3 months, not even, probably like 2 months, right? Hopefully. And this is going to be researched in 115 days. The fight's going to start in 45 days, excuse me, right? So that's not going to happen. So what do we research over here? We can do radio. Radio is always good to get done, but then again, that's for war. So we don't really need that. We're not going to be... Well, we need that, but we're not going to utilize that in that time frame, right? So we can research things that the Italians research, so we can get good efficiency doing that. So we would want to research things with efficiency, which would be excavation, so we can have... We're going to get more resources in general, and we don't want to be giving out our civilian factories if we don't have to. So we want to research this. Done. And then we'll be able to research something else over here too, which is probably construction 2. Right? We're going to just keep on going the greedy route. So Japan has declared the Republic of China. Now, if you have good relation status with a country and they go to war, you have an option to send attaché. Now, it will give benefits to both of us. So I spend 50 command power and 100 political power to get 15% of their army experience gain. So let's say if they gain 100 experience, I get 15 experience. And I get 10% of their grand mastery their gained mastery as well. So if they get 100, I get 10. All these points are adding up. So in every specific area that they're gaining XP in, I'm gaining as well. And 10% war support. They will receive 2% division organization and 10% planning speed. So they're going to do all these things extremely, well, not like extremely effective, but this is a really good bonus. They're going to accept this because they spend nothing to receive this benefit. I receive a lot from this. I spend a lot and I gain a lot. They don't spend jack and they get a nice little bonus right here. And these bonuses, I believe, stack depending on how many, people do it. I don't know if there's like a limit of attaches a certain civilization can receive, but you know, that's pretty nice. They will accept. Uh, Everything's positive. They love me. Okay, so I send it to them. I'm gonna pause, or I'm gonna unpause and pause. Okay. Yo, Lazy, what's up, dude? Our offer of Senatachi was accepted. Awesome. Now we go over here, and you're gonna see automatically that unpause. You're reserving 0.5 per month. The Attache of the Japan plus 2.16, a 10% transfer. Hazelnut cappuccino. Oh, that's good, huh? Playing a bit of. Oh, yeah. Dude, I didn't play a lot of that game. I love the second one though, man. I don't know. The third one had that the second one just had that grit feel, that damn, I'm there. And then the third one turned all into this cartoony stuff or whatever with with a funky health bar. But it still looked fun. But we didn't really get into it that much. I think we should try it again. There's more DLC now, right? Okay, so we established a foothold. I heard it was oh, dude, it was legendary. That literally. Look up video. Company of Heroes 2 is legendary. Literally put the foot. I mean, you probably play that one more than the third one. It's that good. Okay, so we're establishing a foothold. We're gonna check. We stopped. So the thing is, we stopped training because we were destroying a decent amount of equipment and we weren't making as much. But now look at 217. We're making 31 a day. Not too bad. We'll be done in 7 days right here. Very cool. And look at, we fight them in 45 days. We are on time, my friends. Very cool stuff. Okay, and then in 35 days we ban the commies. So this is the cool thing. This is timing right here, right? So in 45 days we fight, but in 35 days we ban the commies, and then we start to see what the split is. So let's say if we ban the commies right now, what's 14 divided by 2? Because there's no party right here, and then there's no party right here. There's going to be 2 remaining parties. So it's 14 divided by the 2 remaining parties, which is 7. So 7's going to be over here and over here. So now we're going to be at 58 and 41. But the fascists we have so many so many modifiers that are helping us gain more popularity. We're ultimately going to pass that 60% that we need to have in order to get the UNF. Here we are. So now the attache has been sent. And industry has also been made. And now look at. So we just got 2 free spots in Buenos Aires. Right here. Which is really good. Now we can do maybe a civilian factory and military factory. It's really all up to you. And you got to say to yourself, how is the situation looking? Okay? What is it looking like ahead? And I can show you. We get 2 free military factories over here after the UNF. So in 140 days, a little bit more, right? We're going to get 2 military factories. Not much more military factories except for the war machine over here. But we can always mix and match, and more civs isn't a bad thing. But you also got to know that we do have partial mobilization, which gives us military factory speed of 10%. So depending on what you want to do, we can just go military factory into civilian factory or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on what you want. I do recommend going civilian train and getting a truck as well. And making sure that there's a factory in each of those. It's just so you can just have a stockpile. There's another thing that I forgot to mention.
Atención!
You want to make sure that this, once you have trucks, you want to make sure there's the truck priority right here, because this ends up giving, wherever this field marshal goes, the supply priority goes. So if the priority is high for supply for the field marshal, it's going to be like that for your divisions that are underneath the field marshal. Okay. So we're just gonna go for construction 2 because we're greedy, and that's just how it's gonna happen. And this is how it's looking like for our techs and stuff. 26 days. We want to eyeball that. I think I unpause. I think we're cool. The waves sound very nice today. So we want, one of the biggest things is after the Uruguay War, right? So there's something we could do now. So we're at 100 political power. You can change. There's a couple things you can do. Are we gonna think about air anytime soon? Are we gonna want our doctrines a lot soon? Because when you have this political power, you got to say, what am I going to spend this on? Are we going to ban the communism? Yes, 1,000% going to do that. But you also can say, okay, how much time do I have? You want to make sure all these things are in order. You could start gaining XP from your Navy or Air Force. You can go for superior firepower. So you get 15% mastery towards what you're getting from Japan. Never send an Itachi to Italy, because they're fighting Ethiopia for God knows how long, and it's like it's guns against sticks and sticks and stones are apparently winning. So don't do that. And then once they actually do end up, breaking the stick, you're just not gaining anything until Hitler actually starts work and it says, "Oh, come on, Musso, let's go." So yeah. Only send the Itachis to Japan, and then send it to Germany and call it a day. I don't send Itachis to nationalist Spain, because it's like, as you see, we're utilizing every single bit of political power that we can get, and this is with double political power advisors. So whatever, you could probably change the way, of course you can change the way you play and manipulate that, but this, as for what we're doing right here, I need all the political power we can get. So as you see, it's 11, so that's 6.5 spread, so that's going to give us extremely close towards our goal right here, because 53 plus 6.5 is 59.5. So I mean, we might just be, oh, it might actually go to 60, actually. It's really close. So we're going to ban communism. Yeah, 59.27. So during this time, we can just, we'll finish establishing a foothold, and then we'll just wait until this popularity goes up, because the popularity is going up. And there's only 2 parties, and the change is only going up for the UNF. Okay, so now all the political power can be used to however you want. When we establish a foothold, we go over here, we get more division attack, all this crap. We can check over to Spain as well and see how well nationalist Spain is doing. They're encircling, that's cool, kind of. And then we just press play. But yeah, the political power can be used for the theorist. Since we're not fighting, the army logistics and regrouping, you don't need to do right away. I like the Air Force a lot. I really do like the ground support right here, because this helps us get our, planes right away, and maybe, hit 50 experience so we can get the license here, and get the 15% so we can get our 1936, light going on, and do like a 3-1 split, 3 factories on fighters and 1 factory on CAS. And we would only do this engine, level 2 engines, range improvements, and then we would just do 4 light machine guns and call it a day. And that's all you really need. Because this is 1939, so that's not going to be in time. And you don't want to wait until 1940, because then you're really going to need the heavy MGs and the level 3 engines, and you're just going to be behind on production if you're thinking about going for, you know, air. But then again, the enemy doesn't really have like crazy air. Brazil has like 50 planes, and like it's nothing, you know, to look over. Because I was curious that like the norm for people. I have a mod not on. This is bare bones, but I do have that road to 56 that I want to try. But I wanted to do achievements and stuff, and I'm trying to take over South America, and leave Bolivia. It's like called Lamento something Bolivia, I think. Yeah, but road to 56, we're gonna get that, or we have that. I just have to enable it. But yeah, so now we can use the political power pretty much for whatever we want. Excavation 3 is amazing. This is going to be done, as you see. Oh, this is good timing. Okay. So, we established a foothold, and we're at 59.77% on popularity. And then once we hit 60, we can press start, because we're going to meet the requirements for this. So we got the war goal. We already have planning speed. We justify. We declare war. We got to watch out for Brazil. We go annex. We click activate. And then we just wait. I'm going to set this to 3. You can set it to 3 or 4 when you're at war, just so you can, like, you know, micro stuff. And our divisions are stockpiled, and they're looking healthy. Mostly following along exactly, but I hit a little early, and I hit 60%. And oh, nice. No, that's good. If you, however you want to do it, this is just a little bit different. It just depends on what your stability is, what you're going for. You can lose more stability if you want to. You can get the fascist guy sooner, because I've gotten the fascist guy sooner, and it made my stability a little bit lower. But what I did is I made it to instead of the fascist guy, once we hit corporatism, we went from 60 to 110 on political power, and we chose Rodriguez, right, at the exact date you're on. Did you declare war? And are you on doctrine? Not yet? Okay, so you'll be at 30 stability, because when you're at war, it's minus 20%. Yep. So it just depends on stability of what you want to be at. But the lower stability you're at... Yeah, because that's why I'm saying you want to do the improve... Where... what is this? What is this? You trying to get one on Papa? Oh, I did it 30 days sooner. I see what you're doing. Okay. Go back to your bathroom. Anyways. So, you wanted to... That's why you want to improve worker conditions, like, later on. And that's going to help out later. Why it happens? I see. He's trying to pull one over Papa. I see it. But, you want... that. I wonder if the correct way to play a smaller is to sell your weapons early for civs. So I sold my planes for it, and you can also sell... Oh, that's another thing I forgot actually in this one, is to sell convoys. I went to go sell the planes, but usually I sell like 50 to 70 convoys as well, because you're just making convoys. So things could be a little bit faster for sure here. But yeah, you could sell convoys. That's another thing. So we go over here, and then we just wait, get the political power, and then we fight. So this changes. today or tomorrow. Okay. Got this. And then we got the UNF. And that's right. And I'm going to say this at 6 p.m. Is that 6? No, no. a.m. Hold on. Let me go like this. So this is how you want to play. So I went to copy and paste it just to make sure that there's like a benchmark for the way I chose this. But yeah, so here we go. So we attack.
Sí, señor.
Select all. Select all. Submit demands. Confirm exits. Boom. 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 And the rest is history. And that's how you kill Uruguay.